very cover of this video has bad advice and is very directly pointed at males. See, Autism Speaks has never spoken for autistic people. What they do is they try to demonize us and convince us to give them money for research to destroy autism, to drug us, to try to make us appear more normal by making us stupid at your level. And I shouldn't have to say it like that. But if you're drugging intelligent people, abusing them and fucking killing them because you don't want to understand that they're just different, not evil, and then we've got Autism Speaks. All of their videos making all autistic people out to be violent retards that can't speak. Meanwhile, we all do have communication difficulties. When we're in a state of crisis, you all have the wrong response. The right response is to listen and we'll calm down. Instead, you talk over us and tell us what to do, what to think, and what to feel. Meanwhile, the things that we're doing are things that we see you doing all the fucking time. Neurotypicals are allowed to talk about killing people all the time. Why don't I go talking about doing that as a solution all the time? Why do I speak out against it? And why am I the only one who gets treated like he's a horrible person? I finally did threaten a very select few people. I was very specific about who I was threatening. Very specific about the fact that I was threatening that nobody had done anything about the threats except talk over me and tell me nobody cares. Oh, it's not illegal. Oh, you got to go here, you got to go there. Yeah, and I'm spending all of my money to go to these places alone for them to run me around in circles. And then I get treated like a liar when I have to go to the next place and say what the last place said. And then the next place is going to send me back to the last place anyway. Look at TFCC and TCCHC. You don't understand that when an at-risk adult is out here being abused, if you don't fucking care, the cops make money. The cops make money off of us. The hospitals make money off of us. They're going to bill your fucking insurance. Your insurance. You're paying this universal health care bill for us to be denied services. For us to be victimized at the hospitals. For me to be having to go to the hospital about abuse and neglect by the police. And then for them to assist literally the police officers not follow the law or even attempt to follow the law. I'm an at-risk and disabled adult that's supposed to get a hold of APS first. They're supposed to initiate that. That's why I'm supposed to go to one of these places. That's why I'm supposed to go to the police. That's why the fucking police exist, for Christ's sake. But not if you're a male who's homeless. In that case, you're just going to pretend you're a schizophrenic fucking alcoholic who's on drugs. And they can do whatever the fuck they want to you after that. We've taught all women, literally every woman in America is taught to be a predator. And how to cry wolf and play victim when she doesn't get what she wants right when she wants it. Now, I am thankful to the women who don't do that, because there are a lot of us out here, a lot of men who are victimized in horrible ways. And a lot of times, the only thing that stops the abuse is a woman who cares. And even that woman who comes to your rescue knows that she can utilize that bias at any point in time to have you harmed because she didn't get what she wanted. And understand that just because she hasn't done that to you because she likes you, doesn't mean that she won't do it to you later when she doesn't get what she wants with you. Sometimes she'll let the little stuff slide, but the big stuff she will fucking shame and blame you for all sorts of stuff. Learn how to do it back and see how she reacts. She does not have the same rules for her as she has for you. Hopefully Mr. Palmer comes back tonight and is able to help out a little bit. I mean, I got to get somebody to look at this evidence, look at the threats, and actually understand. Like, I've got all the stuff I need already. I need help turning it in because I'm blown off everywhere I go. And where I go, they insist I start right back at the very beginning, starting over from scratch, living in hellish conditions. Meanwhile, I don't want any harm coming to people here or anywhere else. But I see a lot of people being harmed, and I'm harmed often myself. Oftentimes by police, by the locals. A lot of times people want to tell us to go to the homeless services. You have no idea what a bad idea that is. That is nearly impossible to get something done. Most of these people have trauma and fucking start fights over nothing, especially if they're coming down from drugs. First thing in the morning at a homeless shelter is scary as shit. There might have been a couple of fights during the night because a couple of alcoholics are fucking coming down and they need to go get well. Well, now they're going to jail instead of getting well. And then you got a bunch of people who didn't get much sleep and they're groggy and they're pissed off and some of them got to go to work. Some of them it's visitation day so they can go see their kids. They're fucking tired and groggy. They got bags under their eyes. They don't have time to get ready for going and doing everything they need for the day because there's another meeting with the staff. Have everybody come in the front area and listen to them. Everybody there who's not involved in the fight. Get a fucking preaching to about how we need to stop fighting. Like we weren't fighting. Why the fuck do you have a bunch of homeless people standing here like we're a bunch of little fucking kids who are being held after school as fucking detention? We got shit to do, asshole. You can't say that. You can't speak up. Say, hey, I need to go. My kids, whoa, hold up. If you leave now, you're not going to be allowed back here for a year. You see, my mother wants to deal with that. Fathers out here going through that too. I love Hispanic folks, and I should have learned Spanish a long time ago, and I have spent a lot of money for Spanish to teach me Spanish. See, the problem isn't a matter of not being able to read books, not being able to look stuff up on the internet. It's a matter of not having someone to use it with me. I'm autistic. I do best through immersion. Most of us do, but autistic people do it naturally. That's why we learn so quickly. That's why our special interests are so important. Just because you don't understand how somebody could like something so much, like physics. I don't like shit that blows up. I don't like it. I use my things for their intended purpose. I do have some cornstarch in here. Am I using it to make horrible explosives or anything of that nature? Oh, hell no. I want to make some oobleck with it. It's a non-Newtonian fluid. Now you notice I have speech problems. I got to control a speech impediment at all points in time. My hands always got to be in motion, so I got to try to control that at all points in time. I got Tourette syndrome, so I do this with my eyes sometimes, or most of the time. And even though I'm a man, and we have this whole movement pretending like men couldn't possibly ever have emotions, yeah, I cry a lot. I miss my loved ones, both dead and alive. And you know what makes my dead loved ones hurt so much more? Not being able to see my live loved ones, or being treated like I'm selfish. Because my live loved ones cared about those people too, but they're busy mourning those people. As if I never cared about any of them. Out of sight, out of mind. And that's the problem with this abuse. It wasn't just slander. It was slander resulting in physical assaults, threats against my life and against my family's life, social isolation, and then the places I was supposed to go for help stopping that abuse. All of my money that needed to go to taking care of myself was all getting spent running around in fucking circles just like now, getting nothing done. You're eating all of my fucking resources to do things that I shouldn't be being forced to do. I'm not capable and it's unsafe for me to do so. Are you out of your fucking minds? Why don't you ask some of the homeless people? Because either they're fucked up on drugs, they're fucked up on alcohol, or they're going to talk about themselves nonstop. They want to tell you a bunch of horror stories, but not anything they're actually going to do anything about. They're just going to bitch at you, the peanut gallery. I'm not bitching at you, any of you viewers, because you're the peanut gallery. I'm trying to get you to understand you can speak up. The preservation of evidence is what should have been from the very start. Instead, it never was. Obviously, the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth is bullshit. By these services raping me of all of my funding for services that they're not providing, for them to fleece the American public through our tax dollars, for services that they're not providing. Mandated reporters who don't want to do their jobs will make any excuse. If you record those excuses, you win. It's that simple, unless you're called mentally ill and you have a communication difficulty and you can't remember everything right on the spot. That's why you save the evidence. There's a lot of stuff to remember. To answer your question, it might take a minute. Now, and the first thing you do is rapid fire questions at me or ask a question and then immediately you want an answer. You need to hold on a second. Sometimes it takes a minute to remember Sarah Bacon's name. And if you rush me, I might say Laura Nelson on accident. And then I'm some horrible liar. Well, stop fucking rushing me. I can't communicate when I'm being rushed. And when you say you're going to make time, like it's difficult for me when you make time and it becomes not time for me. It's busy doing a lot of other things. And I understand for a lot of you that's the only way you're able to do it. But please understand that I am trying to communicate in that way with you. I am making the effort to do it that way, even though it's impossible for me too. But instead of you explaining why you're not able to do any of this stuff, or understanding that I'm having the same issues except more compounded, for you wanting to push me to go to work and for me not being able to, I'm literally not able to. People are too selfish, and I'm too easy to victimize. Hello. Thank you, sir. Doing my best. They gave me $20. They look like Nebraskans. They're from Idaho. It's pretty hot today, so I have my window open. Or my door, sorry, I can't roll down my window. You know, I feel bad for these druggies out here that I help take care of to the best of my ability. It's because a lot of them do have true stories to tell, but they're not being heard because they're druggies. Meanwhile, the reason that they're druggies is because they try to drown out the pain of not being heard. Nearly every one of them. There's a lot of women that I see here that they literally never wear anything but a long sleeve shirt. A lot of those women are quiet and stay to themselves. But if you touch on the wrong subject, and I do mean the wrong subject, you might get an earful of Karen because it's somebody who's been traumatized. Somebody whose dad or uncle or brother or grandpa or even their mother or sister couldn't keep their nasty paws to themselves. And she tried to tell somebody and nobody would listen. And so she cut on herself to try to get attention, to get someone to hear what she had to say. Not all of the women here are like that. Some of them are ultra-Christian modest and do it because they feel like they're supposed to. The money does help. There were people that tried to donate money so that I would have money to live on, and I didn't have access to it. I never got a penny of that money. And people judged me as if I scammed a bunch of people out of money. And I never did. I told the truth to my best of my ability, and the best of my ability was based on time crunches. Time crunches compounded by people spending a lot of time trying to push stuff like it's crack. You're not understanding what I'm capable of and what I'm not. And that there, by law, is supposed to be a lot of people that help me with this. But all of those people are instead sending me to therapy services and making a profit. Every county in Oregon figured out how to take all the money they're trying to give to homeless to help out homeless and to make it into a profitable venture for the sheriff's departments, police departments, jails, the hospitals. It's just assumed we're all schizophrenic junkies anyway. And that's why cops can so easily rely on that as a go-to. especially city cops. But in small towns, an officer says that and he gets the community support. He's an officer, he must be a good guy. Well, that's to the ultra conservative idiots anyway. The ones who believe no matter what, them black folks probably deserve to get shot kind of crap. And that's tough to deal with. Now, as somebody who is neurodiverse, I do promote a neurodivergent society. Just because somebody has Down syndrome doesn't mean they should be fretted upon, downed upon, or treated like they're less than a person. Just because somebody's autistic doesn't mean it's okay to treat them like they're schizophrenic. And furthermore, it's not okay to treat a schizophrenic person like that. Do you know why schizophrenic people are so easy to take advantage of? Did you know the number of crimes committed against a schizophrenic person versus the number of convictions against their predators? It's like 1,000 to 1. Because although Lucifer and Satan and God and Jesus and all of them might not have been there in the room for him when he was sodomized, and the doctor can verify that he was forcibly sodomized, the fact is they can't make heads or tails of anything that he's saying. Well, when somebody's got communication difficulties and you talk over them, it could render them unable to speak, or you could turn off the filter and then the words don't come out right, and then you just pick the parts that didn't come out right the best in your favor, and you go, oh, see, he's horrible. You're all fucked up people. I kept getting sent around in circles for all these mandated reporters who are supposed to turn it in immediately to literally never do so. Tell me I got to do it myself, knowing that I have to have a friend or family member, which is the reason that I'm sent to those services, because I don't have one. Nobody has time, nobody has time, nobody has time, and that's the point of this. Nobody has time. They got time for a lot of things, but they don't have time for turning this shit in. Or for understanding the person in their community who's trying, with being ostracized and fucking sent on everywhere. When I give people a tiny taste of how I'm treated, they don't fucking like it. And I don't expect them to. I don't do it expecting them to like it. I do it hoping that they make the fucking connection. How does it feel? It doesn't feel good, does it? Make sure I don't get COVID in the woods. Anyway, I have no idea what speed I'm going at any point in time. I gotta basically guess by the gear that I'm in and the odometer over here. And all this stuff that I can't do for myself, that I explain to people I can't do for myself. I don't have friends or family to help me with this. I have to pay people money that I don't have to help me with things, because people are not following the law when it comes to my rights and my abilities and my disabilities. You all have entitlements in your beliefs, and each and every one of you, you have bias. The people who bully me hold bias. That includes the police and the courts. Most of their bias is against the homeless because the homeless are easy to railroad, and a lot of them are on drugs. A lot of them are alcoholics. A lot of them are repeat offenders. But it's not okay to pretend that every single homeless person is like that, like the police do, and the courts do, and public pretenders do. They let you know outright they're not going to defend you. And when you're being assaulted in the fucking jails and the prisons, they know it's true, they just don't fucking care. They tell you that's not what they're paid for. If they're going to call you mentally ill, then yes, they have to take all allegations seriously. But with my friends and family not coming forward about what they knew, they claimed that they would. Some of them claimed that they tried, but the police wouldn't listen. Why would they only listen to one side? Why would they only look at one side? Why is that? Why they would make every excuse not to look, or to tell me I had to do it a different way. And when I was finally able to get help to do it that different way, they told me that's the wrong way. I got to do it another way. The way I tried to begin with. What did I try first? I tried the stuff that I'm legally supposed to try. I tried the stuff McGruff teaches. It's very similar. You go to your friends or family for help to begin with. Well, no, you're supposed to go to your bully and ask him to stop. You're supposed to try to deal with it in a civil fashion with the other party, and both try to be adults about it. Girls are not taught to be adults about anything anymore. It's horrible. Everything must be a man's fault. We have a whole generation of female predators who've been taught that they can just blame it on a men. That's right. Because it's not just one man being blamed. All of us men are on trial every day. If one woman pretends that we're the bad guy, then they'll go back and they'll try to destroy any and all evidence that you have on your Facebook or YouTube that you ever spoke up. A lot of people tried to destroy evidence, and they did destroy a lot at the beginning, but not all of it. The evidence that they did destroy obviously was never actually shown to anybody for the courts. Because if it had been, like they claimed it existed, if it had been looked at by the courts, they would have gone to jail immediately. They had to literally prevent me from going to court or showing evidence in every one of these cases through threats, harassment, intimidation, assaults, and fucking dragging it out as goddamn long as possible. But nobody cares. When your friends and family don't care, and they want to pretend like, oh, if you just ignore it, it'll go away and people will stop victimizing you. No, we're targeted for a fucking reason, dipshit. That's what makes us at-risk adults. The fact that cops don't listen to us, our friends and families don't fucking listen to us, we don't fucking matter. Rather than trying to understand that we're just different, you try to talk to us like we're retarded and don't understand that you're different. We understand exactly how you fucking work and operate. Our issue with social cues is that those are your social lies. We're supposed to be able to tell which ones are lies to blow us off and which ones aren't. Well, we know. We're not stupid, but we also understand that your words, you're going to abuse the tone no matter what your words are. And if we take your words directly as they are, as we would speak them, then of course you're going to start the lying thing and the playing victim thing and a whole bunch of other stuff. We get the fucking social cues. You guys are idiots. You pretend that we don't care. Most of us are the only people you'll ever meet that will genuinely care about you. The only people that will stick with you thick or thin. But not when you throw us away like trash every time you have an opportunity to get laid, like pretty much everyone. Ventus Kasai, Stephanie Mejia, Brandon Ratner, Veronica Randall. Well, I spend more time alone than any of them. They tell me about how lonely they are and that I should understand because they're lonely too. Getting to go to work allows you to socialize, depending on the work that you do. But it does always, or nearly always, result in you having positive peer interactions. I had jobs that fucking hurt me from head to toe, made me sore quick, and I had to keep on going at it. And I hated that job, but at the same time, I loved it as well because the people that I got to hang out with, the camaraderie on the job site. If you get past the first couple of weeks and show that you're not a fucking idiot, everybody there will stick up for you. In most cases. And every who is taught that they're better than everybody else, their boss is better than everybody else. Don't go bad mouthing your boss. Because that'll cut out of your business. If it cuts out of your business, it cuts out of you getting paid, not just your boss. It cuts you out of work, not just your boss. And that cuts you out of money, not just your boss. Back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. It's catch-22. When you're having to live in a subservient environment as an at-risk adult, you know that you're at risk and that this person has all of the power and control. If something goes wrong, you're automatically the bad guy. You're the one who ends up homeless. You're the one who ends up losing all of your evidence. Shannon Alvarado didn't care. She was too busy getting drunk every night. A lot of people don't like that their secrets are out there, that I told their secrets. And many of them who I recorded and posted up the evidence with are very hateful with me. I suppose they're allowed. A lot of people, their problems that they don't have a place either. I've recorded them saying that too. Are they saying that to me, or are they saying it to the police and to the courts? Are they explaining that they're not able for the same reasons I'm not able, and they have more resources than me? They're able to do more than me. But it denotes to the courts and the police is that nobody cares, they can do what they want. I'm mentally and physically exhausted. The weather doesn't help. The conditions I live in don't help. My ability to clean out my whole vehicle is completely fucked. My stuff is all up in the mountains and it needs to go somewhere. I don't have the money for any of this shit. My money next month isn't coming in because I need help with the paperwork, same as I did 6 months ago. I need help finding my key, and my fucking back is killing me, god damn it. Glad for the $20. It does make me a little less afraid, but the thing is, it's not enough to last the month for my basic expenses. let alone anything added on top of it by my predators. I'm forced into this financial destitute because I tried to get help stopping abuse. Instead of helping me stop abuse, all of these places take advantage of us. Because you don't care that they're doing this to us. And they're doing it to your fucking kids too. We're not heard. Not by our parents, not by Autism Speaks. They try to make us all sound like unreasonable, violent, retarded lunatics. And we're fucking not. It's you treating us like that makes us do desperate things to get heard. Like cut on ourselves or blow our brains out. For autistic people, our biggest enemies as far as being heard are our so-called advocates. Because they're not advocating for us. They're advocating for parents who are pissed off that they had a retard. In a lot of these cases, their child isn't retarded. Their kid is a fucking genius. But they're going to miss that entirely because their interests are not the same as their kids. And that denotes there must be something wrong with their kids. I'm not into crystals and all that shit. I'm not into fucking who's a Pisces and who's a Libra. I speak about that stuff sometimes on my channel because some of you guys give a shit about that stuff very much. You just won't shut up about that stuff. Oh, what's your sign? Holy shit, lady. Obviously, this is not a rational human being that I'm dealing with, and I need to skedaddle the fuck out away from that one. Regardless of whether she is promising all the help that I absolutely need, because she's living in a fantasy world. And there's plenty of examples of that. There's also plenty of examples of those fantasy world nut jobs who fucking hopped over entertainment over Natalie Bollinger and fucking played head games. That's all they fucking did. Made no effort to understand, and then wanted to make everything about them. Those are them pick-me girls, ain't they? But hey, I'm gonna make it all about me like every woman in America is taught to do, right? That doesn't mean that you have to. Disabled male, we are recognized by the public just because we exist in public. We have nowhere else to go. You tell us, oh, why don't you get into housing? Well, because there is no fucking housing. We get put on a big long list and we're stuck out here with the fucking same druggies that you kicked out of your house. All the shit that you were pissed off that your family on drugs was doing to you, they're doing wholesale to a bunch of people out on the streets that don't have any family. And then when they do something fucked up to us, you'll protect your family, the addicts. When they do the same thing to us that you kicked them out for doing to you, you'll protect them from prosecution. You will call me mentally ill as an insult. Like Shea Burton. I already knew everything she was going to type. I already knew her nature. Theo made her feel empowered, and she was a pretty big fucking bully for such a little thing. She's very lucky that people felt sorry for her. And before they felt sorry for her because they didn't like Theo, and also because of the horrible way that he mangled her brain. Like, he went around to... Well, he was having sex with people like Jessica Reinhardt. Like 3 other women. Man, they were fighting all his battles. The day he cold-cocked me, I had all 3 of those fucking nut jobs stand in front of me as he fucking slumped off. Yeah, that's what I expected. I had a backpack on and something in each hand, and that's when he chose to cold-cock me like a little bitch. I got experience with Theo. Shea Burton ain't the only one. If I fight back, then I'm the one who gets treated like a predator. And a lot of people say, well, you need to fight back. We're not allowed. McGruff teaches you to stand up for yourself. You're not allowed. the term mentally ill means you're not allowed. Someone else has to stick up for you. They have to actually stick up for you, not tell you what to do, what to think, and what to feel. That's not the same thing. Not make you empty promises and have you spend a bunch of time and money and energy that you don't have to waste on your empty promises. Nobody is more responsible for Natalie's death than our friends and family. Rather than acting like adults to put a stop to it, they made it a bunch of trauma and fucking drama and made my life a living hell. And it's never stopped because I have to beg people to please listen to understand. Please listen. I know you want immediate answers, but you need to know what the fuck is going on. I broke my cigarette. Oh well. When the only time that you have time is when you're busy entertaining others or in a busy and loud work environment and you're not able to focus or function, but that's the time you set aside for it and the place you set aside for it, so that's how we're doing it. My communication issues are horrible when that's going on, and my predators all get to capitalize on it. Forcing an autistic person in crisis into homelessness prevents them from being able to do anything for themselves. It cripples them. With so many people involved, it made it very complicated. But it also makes it easy to show that it's very complicated because nobody's going to listen to all those videos with those people because there's just too fucking many of them. They just want a simple 5 minutes in and out. And anything beyond that is the victim being difficult. Especially when they're trying to pretend like you're a predator in court. I'm absolutely not. The cops don't take it seriously, and neither do you. My resources aren't taken seriously. I spend a lot of my time and resources waiting on people to keep their word, making sure that I'm where I need to be and that I'm not wasting a bunch of money in doing so. I have to try to plan everything out preemptively to protect myself. That includes planning out on what I need to fix next on my vehicle. And by the way, that speedometer is needed to fix since I first got the car. It didn't exactly have that issue all the time when I first got it, but it got steadily worse over time. Meanwhile, my physical abilities are ignored by one group of folks here because they say it's a mental thing, and I go to the mental place where they're supposed to help me, and they say it's a physical thing, I gotta go to the other place. Neither one of them are adult protective services. They're supposed to work with adult protective services, and they don't. They don't make the effort. None of them ever make the effort to look at evidence or understand my communication difficulties. Well, they do understand them. These are supposedly trained professionals, which means they know exactly what they're doing. They know that when somebody is in a state of crisis and they're taking advantage of that person and their state of crisis, that they're doing exactly what the predators do, and that it scares the victim. But it makes it easier for them because then they don't have to do their jobs, do they? Nobody cares about the fucking poor.